y'all. It is Kat from KatsSouthernCharms back with another video. This is not a how-to video. This is 10 things plus some bonus items that are must-haves before you start your resin journey. These are things you hear me talk about in tips and, little tricks here and there. But let's get started. And these are not, before we get started, let me say, this doesn't include everything that will come in your beginner's kit. So what comes in that? Your resin will come in there, some colorants, some glitter, some kind of measuring cups, some mixing sticks, some gloves. Everything that's including in your beginner's kit is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, well, the first thing on my list is isopropyl alcohol. And it's got to be 91% or higher. I use 99%, and I put mine in a misting bottle. And you can see it mist. It doesn't spray like a trigger spray, because you only want a mist of alcohol to break the tension of your bubbles and keep bubbles from forming, okay? The higher the percent of the alcohol, the faster the alcohol evaporates off of your piece, which if you use a trigger spray or you spray too much alcohol or you spray something under 91%, it has the ability to puddle up on your project and leave a film. It doesn't look great. So make sure isopropyl alcohol, not rubbing, 91% or higher, and a misting bottle. Okay, so that's our first item. Next, y'all hear me talk about this all the time. Handy dandy baby wipes. These are great for multiple reasons. One, you can clean your sticks off as soon as you're stirring everything up, you're done. You pour it in your thing, take a wipe it down, it's ready for its next time. So that's one thing. When you paint your molds with mica powder, you can use a wipe to clean up crispy edges and clean up any excess that went in areas that you don't want it before you pour your resin. So these must have. That's number 2. Number 3 are glues. So 3 and 4, really. 3 and 4 are Elmer glue. Clear glue to help keep your glitter floating in your project, so like your chunky glitter sink. So if you have a mold that has, let's say you did a marble effect and you wanted to add some glitter to add a little pop of sparkle. Well, if you don't add the clear glue, it's gonna sink to the bottom and you're not gonna be able to see your marble effect on the other side, because all the chunky glitter is now, that's all you see on the back of your project, right? Or the front when you flip it over. So, clear glue. I stock up on this stuff when school supply sales go on. You can get them $1/4 a bottle. I mean, they're really big time on sale then. So grab them and stock up, because it's always good to have for your crafting. Clear glue to keep your glitter suspended and evenly distributed in your pieces. It is 1 drop of clear glue per 3 ounces of resin. So write that down, but that's your 3rd must-have. Your 4th is your white school glue. And remember, we paint these on the back of coasters or the front of your coasters if you want to add a back layer, like, let's see, we'll use this as an example. This is the front, this is the back. So if I wanted to put another layer on the back, I would paint my white school glue on this side, let it completely dry, prop it up. Oh, whoop, throwing cups, y'all. Did you hear that? Throwing cups. Prop it up on a cup. After the glue is dried, because you have that barrier. So then when you pour your top layer, if any drips go down underneath, guess what? You don't have to sand all of this. It just peels right off with the glue. And I'll link a video at the end so you can see this process in action. It's really cool. And it is a big time lifesaver. Lets your pieces look professional. It saves you time, so you're not having to sand everything down and then top coat that side too. So, saves you a big headache there. So we have the white glue, the clear glue. Next, my little trick and must-have is an Emery board, just a regular nail file. And that is when you have your sharp edges, and I'll just knock this down really quick. You have sharp edges, you take your file, and you just knock the sharp edge down. See it sanded? So you just knock it down. You don't have to use, you know, a Dremel or big sandpaper and wet sand it and then go back and clear coat it. No, just use an Emory board, knock the edges off, and then I just go back with a baby wipe, spray a little bit of alcohol, wipe it down, and then, see, I don't have to. It's smooth now. It's not going to cut anybody, and I don't have to go back. You don't have that sanded, grinded area that you have to fix. So, Emory board, another must-have. That is number 5. Number 6, of course, we have to be safe. Number 6 is Nitrile Gloves. I know Let's Resin includes latex gloves in their kits. I personally am allergic to latex. A lot of people have had reactions to latex and thought it was a reaction to resin. But anytime you have a reaction, I always say, check with your doctor. They know you best. They can give you the best advice, more so than people on the internet, okay? So I want to throw that in there too. If you have a reaction, check with your doctor, not people on the internet. All right, so I have Nitrile Gloves. They're a must if you're handling resin. So that is number 6. Number 7, and I don't know, mine have disappeared. I knew already that I had to order some new ones, but it's Silicone Tip Tools. If you look on Amazon or you Google silicone tip nail tools, they're tools that a lot of people who do nails use when they're doing decorations and things like that. And all of mine, when I sat down to do this video, couldn't find one of them. But look that up on Amazon because the silicone tip tools save your molds. So instead of using a toothpick to do your swirls, in fact, oh no, it's not a scratch. I was going to say, in fact, there is a scratch here, but there's not. So if you use a toothpick, you're going to scratch your silicone mold. You can't repair it. There's no fixing that. But if you use silicone tip tools, you don't have to worry about scratching your silicone mold. So that is tip number 7. Make sure you get those. They really work great. Plus, it helps you in tiny projects. If you need to get into the corner or whatever, that's great for that. If you want to go around the edge of your silicone mold to get any bubbles that might be stuck, silicone, perfect for that. So, silicone tools, number 7. Number 8 are mixing sticks. And there's a variety of them, y'all. We have these that come in kits. We get wooden sticks that come in kits. So there's a different variety of them. These are great because you can just let resin cure and it peels right off. So you have that. But like I said, most of the time when I'm done stirring, I wipe mine down with a baby wipe. Done. It's ready to go again. Your wooden sticks, here's a clue for that. Wood is porous, which means it soaks stuff up. If you've ever stained wood, you know when you stain it, it soaks into the wood, right? And you wipe down the excess. Same thing with resin. In that pores, the porous of the wood when you're stirring will release little bubbles. So what you do when you get these sticks is you coat it in resin. That's gonna seal your pores. And your stick is gonna be, you see the difference here? This side has been sealed, this side has not yet. So this side I can stir with no problem. I don't have to worry about bubbles because the wood is sealed with the resin, okay? Then you have sticks like this that also come in some of your resin kits. These are also great. And the same thing, if you let it dry, you just pop up like that and resin will come off. Just peels off, no problem. So those are the different kind of sticks. That's how you can use wood sticks, but you have to dip it into resin, wipe it off and let that cure, and it's gonna seal those pores. You're ready, good to go, okay? So there's our sticks, and we have a spreader that comes in some too. So if you're doing canvas work and you pour your resin on your canvas, you can easily spread your resin evenly across the canvas. That's what this is for. All right, what is number 9? Number 9 is a big one. Clear packing tape, and I'll show you why. You can use it to clean your molds like these. See, there's little bits here, leftover resin. Sometimes your mold will have some glitter still stuck to it. Simply take some clear tape, put it on your mold. It picks everything up very easily. See this? We're gonna put it here, and it's going to clear all of that up, okay? So, clear tape, must have. Easy to clean your molds. People ask all the time, how do you clean your molds? And here's another pro tip or a bonus tip for that. If you have a deep cylinder mold, like the dragons or like jars that you pour, you can take a lint roller, put down in there, swirl it around, peel off the tape of the lint roller, get a new piece, and it's going to do the same thing. It's going to remove all of the glitter, the little resin pieces, all of that out of your molds too, in a different, easier way. Instead of trying to shove clear tape like this down into a round mold, just use a lint roller. So that's a bonus tip for you. So clear tape is number 9. And the last one of the 10, I'm saying, is a puppy pad. And you see we have 2 sides to this. There's a cotton side and there's a plastic side. So when your puppy pees on here, the cotton absorbs it and the plastic doesn't let it reach your carpet, your hardwoods, the kennel, wherever you have the puppy at. That's what the plastic stops, right? It's that barrier. So for resin, simply use the plastic side up to protect your work area. So when you're pouring resin, and say you're pouring in here and some spills over, no big deal. You just let it dry, let your piece finish curing, you're done with your piece, put it to the side, and then that dried resin peels right off. Easy. Now, I also recommend putting a puppy pad underneath where you're working, cotton side up, because it's inevitable, y'all. You're gonna spill or drip resin. It happens to all of us. There's just no way around it. So if you have this on your floor and you spill a cup of resin, it's gonna soak in the cotton and it's gonna have that barrier where it won't get on your hardwood or your carpets, and you'll be very thankful you have this down, so you're not having to explain to your husband or your other half, what happened to the hardwoods? Or try to sand it up real quick. Anyway, this is another bonus. So putty pads are great. Put one on the floor, put one plastic side up on your workstation. You're all set and protected if you don't have a mat like this. I love this mat. Let's see. Now we're gonna move into our bonus. These are some extras. There's been a lot of talk and question about how do I clean my silicone cup? You know, what is the best way? And this is another thing. You can take a lint roller in, put it down in there, whirl it around. It's gonna get all these little bits and pieces off your silicone cup. Excuse me. But this is what I have found. You spray alcohol in here, you take paper towels to clean it out, you take baby wipes to clean it out. All of the paper towel expense, the baby wipe expense that you use cleaning this out, I have found it's much cheaper to buy disposable cups in bulk, and when I'm done, throw it away. Then I'm not wasting a bunch of paper towels, bunch of baby wipes, alcohol, any of that. It all works out where doing it this way is cheaper. So I have different sizes, and I want to talk about that because we talk about flash cures all the time. This is a 16-ounce cup. So if I mix up 16 ounces of resin, I stir everything, it's all combined. If I was to leave it sitting in that big cup, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna heat up like that really fast because we have a lot of molecular or molecules working together to create friction. There's a lot of workers in here, right? So instead, we pour it out, 2 ounces in here, 2 ounces in here, and leave 2 ounces in here, we're good. You don't have all those workers working together really fast to get the job done. They're spread out, okay? So when you hear us talk about flash cure and separating out your resin, that is why. So I have different sized cups. I have a 16 ounce. I think this is a 8 ounce. This is actually a 9 ounce, but it's shorter. And I like that for pouring reasons. So I have those, and then these are my favorite, y'all. If I'm working on a small project or like my letters, where's a letter? Like if I'm doing letters in an alphabet, it is much easier to pour from this than it is this, right? So I have these, and they're called bathroom cups is what I call them, because they're little 3-ounce paper cups that a lot of us keep in our bathroom. So you just pull one, fill it with water after you're done brushing your teeth, rinse your mouth out, use it for your mouthwash, whatever, and then you throw it away, you're done. But I like the paper cups because I put my resin in here. Guess what? I can pinch it into a little pouring spout. So I have more control when my resin comes out in those little delicate narrow areas. So that's one reason I recommend these paper cups. But there's your bonus for that. Getting disposable cups is much cheaper than paper towels, baby wipes, alcohol, all that it takes to clean these out. So that's a bonus for that one. Our next bonus, this one y'all are really, really gonna love. It is a Ziploc bag. Why a Ziploc bag, do you say? Well, I store my molds in Ziploc bags because one, I have 2 huskies who blow their coats all the time. So we live in husky hair heaven. So to protect my mold, I put them inside a Ziploc bag. No dust, no husky hair, none of that's getting to it. But a bonus is I can write on the Ziploc bag what kind of mold it is and how much resin it takes. So instead of, having to go look in a journal somewhere, oh my gosh, where did I write that down? Where did I even put my journal? I don't even know where it's at. I have it right here when I pull my mold out. So that is a huge bonus tip. Protects your mold and leaves you the ability to have information right there on it. So that is a big, big, big bonus tip for you guys. And also, when I store my molds, you can spray them with a mold release, or you can even use cooking spray, like a Pam cooking spray. That will keep your mold conditioned, because if you spray it with alcohol, alcohol dries things out. And we know that from our own hands, right? You use a lot of hand sanitizer that's full of alcohol, your hands get really dried out. So a good way to get more pores out of your mold is to condition it before you put it in a Ziploc bag. Spray with mold release, just spray, and it doesn't have to be a lot, just a thin layer, that's it. It'll keep it conditioned so it doesn't dry out. So, okay, now let's go to our next one. Okay, this is a good one because I recommend using makeup brushes if you're going to brush mica in your mold, because makeup brushes are soft for our skin, right? Which means they're soft for silicone. It's not going to scratch it like a regular paintbrush will. And I have regular paintbrushes. Oh, this is full of stuff. Anyway, I have regular paintbrushes too, but the bristles on a paintbrush are more harsh than on a makeup brush. So that is your other pro tip for when you want to brush on mica powders, nail chrome powders, whatever you want to brush in here, use a makeup brush. Less likely to scratch up your mold and ruin it. In our, well, I have 3 more. We have 3 left, y'all. And this one, you hear me speak about it all the time. Good fabric scissors. Why good fabric scissors? Because, you know, when you pull stuff out of a mold, sometimes there's a little overage. And you can just trim it with good fabric scissors. Just like that. Trims super easy. See that on there? Just that little thin. So these I definitely recommend having, because also if you're working with washi tape and you need to cut it into small strips, you're not going to get fraying on your tape. Or if you're working with fabric, like I use my flags for my patriotic hands. I cut a thin strip of any fabric that I use in resin and I put it in a bookmark to make sure that the dyes in that fabric aren't going to bleed into my resin. These fabric scissors make that process much easier. So fabric scissors is something else I recommend, and that's a bonus. It's not a must-have. If you have them, great. It's not something you need to go buy before you start resin, but it's definitely a bonus tip that I highly recommend, and you'll notice a huge difference doing that. Now the last 2 is you tape measure. And why tape measure? Because when you first get your mold, remember I told y'all, when I'll put links to all this in the description, you can find out how much resin you need by Googling Omni Resin Calculator. And when you pull that up, all you have to do is plug in, what shape do you have? A rectangle. What is the length? 5 inches by 3.5. And how deep is it? It is a 1/2 inch deep. So you plug in all those numbers into the calculator and it tells you how much resin you need for this mold. Done. So I always keep a tape measure. Plus, if you're shipping items and you are printing your own labels at home, you need to know your box measurements to input. So that's a bonus. And I keep a handheld level because I want to make sure, one, that my table is level. But now, y'all, I'm finding out lately, a lot of the molds, the new molds that I've been getting in the mail, they're not level. So when that happens, I have to prop a little stick under it to make it level. Whatever I have to do to make sure that it's level. And I check from multiple angles, multiple ways, but this little handheld level helps a lot. Because if it's not level, your resin's gonna flow to one side and leave one side super thin. So you wanna make sure that your projects are level. That will keep the headaches down for you. So there we go, guys. That is the top 10 must-have things I recommend when you start resin. If you have any questions, or if you have a tip that I didn't mention, put it down in comments. Share it with all of us. We can always use tips. But that's all I have for this one. Make sure you do all the YouTubey things because I have a lot of fun stuff coming. You don't want to miss those. Like, subscribe, comment, tell me below. What is the one tip that you didn't know that you're the most excited about? And I kind of think I know what it might be. But y'all leave me your comments and let me see if I'm right. Anyway, until next time, y'all, happy arting. Ta-ta for now.